Hmm.
And Twitch is live.
There, you're now recording. Got a retweet and a favorite.
Welcome to KTAM Weekly News. I'm your host, Galen Cross. First off, news on the KTAM front. We are looking for more hosts, fans, and guests. We have a new show on Wednesday starting at 6 p.m. Pacific Time, 9 p.m. Eastern Time called The Frontier Truth, which will be covering more conspiracy-style topics like net neutrality and Gamergate. We'll also be ramping up our giveaways, so stay tuned to KTAM Radio for your chance to win some KTAM swag. Our first topic tonight is Nintendo. As part of their health and lifestyle project, is currently developing a non-contact sleep sensor. The device is to be placed by your bedside, and a radio frequency center will measure your movement, breathing, and heartbeat during your sleep. That information will then be sent to a cloud server, which will analyze the information and send it back to you as a set of visual graphics along with recommendations on how to improve your sleep. This product is expected to be a standalone item, not requiring a Wii U or others, and will be the first of many items under the Nintendo's Quality of Life product. Second, yet another game gained the axe. Bethesda has officially confirmed that Prey 2 has ceased all development. The game's development has been in question for a long time, with reports of it being moved to different development studios and a lack of updates on the project itself. Pete Hines, a representative from Bethesda, stated that the issues with Prey 2 were that of quality and direction. It wasn't an easy decision, but the game wasn't meeting expectations. He also said that the Prey franchise is still one they would like to continue in the future, but they don't see a direction for it right now. Do you miss old games? Like really old games. Games as old as you are, or even older. Archive.org has released over 900 classic games all the way back to the original Atari and the Commodore 64, which are playable through a Java browser. Though they admitted not every game they emulated perfectly, especially vector games, and even controls in some create problems. But overall, the majority are completely playable. If you want to go back and play classics like Dig Dug, Golden Axe, and Kung Fu Master, head over to archive.org/details/internet arcade. Yet another game is closing its doors early. EA developer Waystone Games' MOBA project Dawngate is being closed down for good. Players will have another 90 days to enjoy the game, and anyone who invested money can request a full refund. Dawngate tried to differentiate itself from MOBAs like League of Legends and Dota 2 by making the choice of your role more important than your choice of character, in order to cater to individual player choice. The close the game is due to a lack the game closed due to a lack of progress in terms of player base. There have been no announcements on how this will affect Waystone Games, and no layoffs have been announced. For the record, I was just highly distracted, and that's why I had the major flub up. Star Citizen President of Production and Development Eric Wingman Peterson and many others have left CIG, the developers of Star Citizen. CIG has closed its Austin, Texas office and moved all productions to their LA office, saying the need to consolidate the project to a single location in order to make development easier not only on those doing it, but on Chris Roberts, the head of CIG. In a letter on Reddit, Eric Peterson posted the reasons for the change. Due to the excessive amount of travel time Chris Roberts was doing between the LA and Austin offices, it was becoming more and more difficult to remain productive, hence the decision to consolidate to a single location. Eric Pearson, being part of the Austin office, made the decision citing the needs of his family and the desire to not uproot them as a reason he is not staying with CIG and moving to LA. It appears that Eric Pearson, and I assume many of those left behind in Austin, have decided to start up their own development studio. If you want to follow his latest project, go check out peezocker.com. peezocker.com. We'll take a quick commercial break, and when we come back, we're actually going to start a discussion portion, and we're going to discuss yet more research in violence in video games. And we're out.
Sorry. It all had to come off.
You do realize I'm streaming?
Yeah, I'm not on your screen.
How much did you flop out her titties?
No, she dropped her pants.
That's what you just said, dear. Put your pants back on. The news isn't that exciting.
Oh, don't worry. It's all over my stream now, so...
Oh, to your one viewer.
Yeah, it's one of those what the fuck moments. Do you like my choice of commercials for this?
It works. It's apropos. I'll have to check out that archive thing for the games. There's a couple of games I've actually been looking for.
Yeah, I took a quick look at it. It's definitely got a lot of old shit.
I don't know. I can't play anything old anymore. I just have too much nostalgia.
Yeah, me too.
There's a couple of games I've been looking for.
Hey, people are joining my stream. Hey, people, we're in the mumble. Come back in about a minute. I'm going live about 5. Oh, the lag on sound broadcaster is real. Welcome back to KTAM Weekly News. Our first topic of discussion A new study from Stetson University studying the effects of video games and violence has once again been published with shocking results. Well, shocking to people who know nothing about video games. The first set of research he did was covering violent movies between 1920 to 2005 and finding examples of active violence linked to violent movies. Excluding a slight link in the mid 20th century, homicides have actually declined. His second study covered violent video games between 1996 and 2011, in which he found that youth violence has actually declined and that there is a strong correlation to video games for that. But he also made clear that his research couldn't conclude if video games were the cause of decline or a matter of chance. His study can be found in the Journal of Communication. The fact that violence in North America overall is in decline and has been declining for a very long time, why then is it being accused of creating more violent? And if research keeps finding that video games or violent media don't make a person violent, then why do groups believe they can make you sexist or anything else?
Well, people just like to assume. They like to say, well, this is outside of my comfort zone, outside of my norm, and if I see you playing that video game, which is violent and gory and grotesque, then you must be linked to being that kind of person too, and you're going to commit those kind of acts in your day-to-day life. But I don't think so. But on the other hand, there's a lot of gamer people who are reclusive, who, when they do come out of the shell, is an explosion. And they're the few bad apples that ruin it for the whole bunch of us.
Yeah, but I think you're making the association with gamer and recluse as something that are directly linked. Look at several people over the time. Like, there's no link to the guy who shot up the Batman movie being linked to gamers. There's no link to the psychos who go shoot up schools being linked to gaming. Recluses are recluses, and people with mental disability or mental issues are people with mental issues. It doesn't matter what medium they go into. Look at sports. Sports is one of those areas in which the whole thing is violence. Hockey, football, soccer, like, there's tons of real world violence in those things that are actually having people intentionally do violence against each other. Going to boxing, UFC, whatever. But yet somehow where you actually have a direct correlation of violence, even going to something like what happened to Ronda Rousey a few years back, in which she was seen in a movie theater and some jerks behind her were causing some trouble and actually ended up getting into a scuffle in which she ended up kicking all their asses with a friend who was also a mixed martial artist. So why doing, and you can even go into other things like football players knocking their girlfriends out in elevators. Like, why aren't we calling to an end to football or end to sports? Because they obviously have a lot of violent people doing violent acts.
It's because we expect violence from them.
I think it's more people don't understand gaming, gamers. They think it is a small margin of society. And it's like you said before, they think of us as neckbeards and social rejects and stuff like that, where sports are very big, very public. People know what it is. You can see it all the time. And for the average person, you can understand what football is and how it's played, right? You can watch a game, and at the end of the game, of football or hockey or whatever, you're going to have a pretty decent understanding of how to play it. Where I think gamers are a little different, and I think it's human nature. People don't understand something very well, they just seem to automatically hate it.
Well, that's something that makes me curious. Is there's a TED Talk. I can't remember her name. I actually just watched it today, and I might have to pick it up at some point to find the name. But there's currently approximately 500 million gamers, or at least 500 million people who play games. That number is actually expected to double and even triple over the next year, or next 10 years, I mean, solely because of access. As wireless gaming becomes more accessible to countries like India, Africa, places like that, as the technology becomes more easy to access, we're going to see an upswing in more people playing games. So there's already 500 million of us playing games. That's a good chunk of people. there's not that many people playing football. There's not that many people playing hockey. Like, there really isn't. So we clearly have far more people playing this game or playing video games, and even in some cases the same video games. So why are individual sports, at least because obviously if you take all the people playing sports, there's a lot more people, but take something like League of Legends, which has, what, 20 million people right now? Is 20 million people really playing football on a regular basis or on a daily basis?
Yes, but gaming happens behind closed doors. Football happens on an open arena where it happens outside on the school grounds where you can see it happening. Gaming happens in somebody's basement, in somebody's living room, in somebody's games room. It happens in your computer room. It happens on your computer. It's not a mass thing where anybody can do it. You can just walk by and see it. Gaming happens at home. Gaming happens in a gaming store or a gaming location. It's not an open game. It's not an open area. It's not something somebody can just walk by and be like, hey, what are you doing? Can I join? No, it's something you intentionally have to go to.
And I guess that's the difference between in perception. Um, it's far easier to jump in to a video game and play with somebody than it is to jump into a game of football or a game of hockey or whatever. Far less limitations. You have quadriplegics, or there's even a tetraplegic who twitches on stream or streams on Twitch, who actually streams Diablo 3 using nothing but a mouth device. Like, this is a tetraplegic. Like, this guy's got an oxygen machine, neck down, like even actually worse than neck down, no movement, and he's playing it. You have people like Frederick with 8chan who plays games who you wouldn't see out on a football field. I'd actually have to argue that that gaming is far more accessible than sports are. But at the same time, you're completely right in the fact that, at least mainstream wise, which still confuses me how gaming is not mainstream yet. But in like the mass stream of people, gaming isn't looked at as something that's commonplace. It's still considered a freak thing to do, even though 500 million people are doing it. Even if it's just on their phones, you're still playing games. You're still being affected by the games industry. But yet, these people seem to find it easy to turn their back and kind of go, well, I play games, but I'm okay. It's the rest of you that's the problem.
And it's easy to make that assertion. I'm not a geek. I'm not a nerd. I'm not a gamer.
You're
I
a
just
gamer.
happen to play games every once in a while. Now I assert myself as a gamer, but before, and how do people come into gaming? Let's be honest. You had to bring me into gaming 10 years ago. In my adulthood, I entered into gaming. That doesn't happen for the vast majority of people. For the vast majority of people, their children see their parents gaming and then they can get into it, or their parents can introduce them into it, or their friends. But for people from where I come from, our recreational time was spent walking the 3.5 miles to go see your friends. Forget about gaming, unless it was card games.
A little bit off topic. If one of our 6-year-olds walked into the room with his pants around his ankle and started talking to you, would you ever take him seriously?
That depends if he was drunk or not.
Yeah.
At 6?
Not drunk, so I think the answer is no, I wouldn't take him seriously. I'm not taking you any more seriously than I would my 6-year-old at this moment. Yeah, if you're
Glad
on
I'm
my
not stopping by for a visit.
yeah, if you're on my Twitch stream, you'll understand the context.
Move the camera over.
No, I don't want to get my Twitch banned.
That's true, yeah.
But yeah, and it's just that's the part that bothers me the most is there's 500 million people worldwide playing games. That's a big number, which means that for people to have so much issues with accusing gamers of violence and sexism and all that stuff, there has to be a lot of people who would be classified as gamers rationalizing their gaming and their view on gaming, making them special, making them the exception to the rule, which is obviously extremely hypocritical because, as Anita Sarkeesian says, the more you deny that video games are affecting you, the more they probably are. Which means Anita Sarkeesian, by her own definition, must be the biggest sexist there is on the planet because she's a self-described gamer who in no way, shape, or form is being affected by video games. Which seems to be a I can actually see where she's coming from, not because she's correct, but because I think she hits on something there. I think she's wrong about what she says, but she's right about the mentality of people. That people seem to believe that they're not being affected, therefore they're not being affected, even though the issue actually is that by claiming you're not part of the community and trying to turn your back on the community while still actively participating in the community, you're actually the problem. You're actually the person who is going to be more likely to be the sexist, who is more likely to be the violent one, because you're actually not actually critically absorbing the medium. I see a violent video game like GTA 5, which is commonly used as a reference to violence, and I look at that game and I don't absorb the violence in that. I look at a game and I can critically think while I'm playing the game that as much as I'm doing it in game, this is not something I'd ever want to do in real life, which is maybe part of the reason I don't actively play games like that anymore. Not because I have an issue with them, but because they don't resonate with me. But there are people out there who do play them, who it resonates with, who still don't become violent. They just enjoy it as the story of it, of the escape, and acknowledge the escape. And obviously there are people who are mentally disturbed, who take it one step further and actually try to act it out. Those aren't, they aren't doing it because they're playing a video game. They're doing it because they're mentally disturbed. And we have to recognize that difference. And I don't think that's a difference that's being recognized. It's like misogyny. Misogyny is not a product of anything other than a state of mind. And that state of mind is typically coming from upbringing and experiences. And a video game is not going to turn you into that. You're not going to experience a video game and have something click in your mind and go, oh my God, I just have an epiphany. Women are there to be beaten. That's what women are there for. Oh my God, this video game just opened my eyes. I've never heard anybody even insinuate something like that. So why are video games like enough research now? This is now what the fourth or fifth piece of research that I'm personally aware of that's flat out said violence is going down. Violence in youth is extremely going down compared to what used to be. But somehow video games are making more violent, even though more people are playing video games now than ever before.
There's a correlation there that yeah, the mainstream media isn't touching on, and I think the real question is why? What is the mainstream media's intended narrative for not wanting to say, hey, you know what? Another study comes out and it says play more games because you will become a less violent person in the real world.
Actually, there was a TED Talk, the same TED Talk I referenced earlier, in which her research has come to say is that we should be playing more games. Everybody should play at least 1 hour of games a day, because gaming does four key things, and I'm probably going to get them wrong, and I'm going to try ad lib best I can, but it improves critical thinking, it improves social skills, it improves the ability for the mind to actually process information. I can't remember what the fourth one for life of me was, but her hypothesis is that if more people play games, more people would gain those skills that gamers have, and if we could then harness gamers, because the problem with gamers is that we're problem solvers by nature, but we're also afraid of the real world. We go to games because we can solve problems there, and we're more accepted there, and we can actually cooperate with people there. Even part of the study she found proved that just playing with a person, if you win or lost or how badly you lost was irrelevant, you actually felt good about that exchange, no matter what the results. So her goal is to try to make gamers take those skills that they have of the epic win, she called the optimism. That was the other thing, is the epic optimism, and take those skills that gamers have in the gaming world and have them actually implemented into real world problems. If we can actually get those gamers into the real world problems and present them with problems in a way that they can understand, those types of people may actually be the solution to the world's biggest problems, because we will not give up. we will do everything we can. Even if we hit a wall, we'll go right back at it. You can kill us as many times as you want in the game. We'll get right back up and and keep grinding it until we solve the problem. And that's something that you don't see in the real world very often, and something that gamers tend to lack when traversing between the virtual world and the real world. And that's what her goal is to try to harness. But something that I find kind of hilarious is that the media likes to try to claim that video games are responsible for violence when there is very few examples of that. But yet we can find far more examples of where media is actually being responsible for violence. After the school shootings that happened, I can't remember the exact place. It was near Ferguson. That's all I remember. Um, After that happened, there was at least two copycats who did it solely because they wanted to get the same media attention that the original shooter had. So because of the attention the media was actually putting towards um, that what happened, these people tried to copycat solely because they want to be on the news too. That's the media's responsibility for sensationalizing it. That's
Well,
not gamers.
what the media never tells you is all of the numerous. In fact, there's more times that people have stopped these kinds of shooters in schools and other places, and the media never reports on those. You want to know why? Because in every single one of those cases, either the shooter is killed by somebody with a legal concealed carry, or is stood down, as in they draw on the person, and the person who's there to shoot up the place says, no, okay, you win, puts down his guns, the cops show up, and there's absolutely no incident at all. And those happen far more often than anything else. But the media never reports on that because that's not good TV. That's encouraging more people to buy guns. It's encouraging. It's not fear mongering, and they can't do a 24/7 news cycle when that happens, because the news story is over in less time than it took for the incident to actually happen. So there is some definite media bias in there. And at the end of the day, it's all about money, right? If the more you're watching a TV station talking about how some kid shot up a school, the more their advertising is being watched by people, and they can charge more for advertisers. And that's really it's all it is. It's not actually about the news, and that unfortunately is a shame, because it's also a form of social engineering.
Well, quite simply, no death, no story. That seems to be the mainstream media's policy. If somebody didn't die, there's nothing to talk about.
Yeah, I can agree with that.
Um,
There's
oh, go ahead.
there's a reason why I refuse to do mainstream media. I refuse to watch the news. I would rather not know something's going on than people be like, hey, what do you think about this? And we go, hey, I have no idea what you're talking about. I don't listen to or follow the news because there's nothing new. If it's important enough, it's something I'm already looking into. If it's not important, then it's just going to be, hey, this person was robbed, this person was mugged, this person was hurt, or you shouldn't ride the LRT. And I'm just tired of not hearing about riding the LRT.
Well, I
Well, I
hope
think
no.
too. I
Oh,
think you also have to look at the word news. What is this? What is the key word in news? New. The problem with mainstream media is by the time it makes mainstream media, 100 bloggers have already talked about it. 1,000 people on Twitter have already made a hashtag about it. It's not new anymore, so they have to trump up the story as well.
well, on Burgundy's little rant, I sure hope nobody else takes that advice because technically we're news, and I sure as hell hope you keep listening.
I partake in this.
Um, but yeah, I have to agree though. I'm somewhat a need to know basis. I watched the Young Turks almost daily. That's pretty where I get all my news, which is not the complete story. I also check out Philip DeFranco, SourceFed, a couple other YouTubers. That's where I get my news from, YouTube. I get to look at the topics. I get to see, okay, if something catches my interest or catches my eye, something that I think it might be relevant to me, I check it out. Um, Other than that, yeah, I don't subscribe to mainstream media because mainstream media is not worth it to sit through a bunch of drivel just to maybe get one or two stories. Which is why I like the YouTube format, because usually it's just split up. You get the hot topics, and you get to kind of pick and choose what bites you want, and go from there. Gaming news is kind of the same way. I've when I do the show, I just go through a whole bunch of articles. Whatever eye-popping articles come out or something I think might be relevant to me is what I actually go look at. And then I decide from there if it's something I actually feel I want to talk about, or I feel that somebody who regularly shows up wants to talk about. Which is why we don't talk about console stuff, because nobody here really does console.
Well, I own two of them. Xbox
I own
360
a
and a
Wii.
PS3.
I don't know Wii U. We own PlayStation 2. Like, we own a bunch of consoles, but nobody's really like. I'll talk about major stuff, but I won't actually go into major discussions. It's just not worth it.
What new games are you buying me for the Wii U?
Oh, I think we just lost the radio connection, but my Twitch stream luckily is still around. Connection has been lost. Well, I guess we'll just continue this talk for a little bit until the radio resets, then we'll set to commercial for everything else. And for some reason, the requests are going through during my show, which really sucks. Oh, we just lost Beck. He just died.
I'm back. The mumble did a little hiccup on me.
Not just the radio's down.
That's where you have to reconnect. Dementia 2. Connect. Done. Now we're back.
Not really. The radio says the connection has been lost. Oh, that's the viewer.
Yeah. No, we're back.
Well, you guys keep talking while I reconnect.
Yeah, no, Mumble had a little bit of a hiccup there, which it happens from time to time. But as I was saying, we can talk about consoles. The problem is I think all of us own older consoles. We don't own newer consoles. People want to talk about the Xbox, the Xbox One or the PlayStation 4. They don't want to talk about older games to the same degree that we would like to talk about them. I mean, as I was saying, I think I've one PS1, two PS2s, no, two PlayStation 1s, one PlayStation 2, PlayStation 3. There's an original Xbox here, Xbox 360. I think there's a Nintendo 64 kicking around, and a Super Nintendo. I own a Sega Genesis with Sega CD, Panasonic 3DO. I mean, I have consoles, but nobody wants to talk about those games because they're so passe. Everybody wants to talk about the new stuff, and that's fine. But I don't know. I like the nostalgia of older games.
Well, we own a Wii U, primarily because it's a fantastic group-based system. Automatically 4 players. Actually, the new Wii U is 5. Great for our kids. I love Smash Bros. I love Wii Party. Those are the games I love. Anything else, like, I can't get the Wii U games typically up on PC, and I wouldn't plump them on PC because Wii U is definitely a party system. Everything else that's on the new Xbox and PlayStation, I can get on PC for the most part, or game extremely similar. So why waste my time? I don't want to sit on my couch. I have a very comfortable $300 chair that at some point in time, when my fat ass gets a little bit skinnier, I'm going to get one of those really awesome, looks like it's like a professional racing car seat chairs they have for gamers that are supposed to reduce fatigue and stuff like that. I want one of those at one point, but I'm a fat bastard. That's not going to happen right now. So, but it's something I want at some point, and it's just more comfortable. And I want my kids to be PC gamers. I want them to enjoy that ability to interact with people worldwide. I'm a Canadian, but yet most of the people I talk to and play with are Americans. And as such, I've come to learn so much about America. I've had a lot of British viewers in the past who I've ended up actually becoming friends with and played with. I've got one guy who's a German who lives in in the U.S. in L.A. now, who's a program, not a programmer. Yeah, he's a programmer, and I learned so much about him. Like the PC has helped me learn so much about different people all over the world. That's amazing. It's opened my eyes to the value of people outside of my little bubble of friends. Like I still have my little bubble of friends. Master Sick being one of them. King Chicken when he's around. Obviously, Burgundy is my girlfriend for everybody who's wondering. But I love learning about other people, about other cultures, learning how to say dirty things in other languages from the friends I meet. And that's the type of thing that I love about PC gaming. Where if I go to console, I'm learning how to swear in English, but with a whole bunch of different um, ways. But if nobody has anything to add, I'll go to a commercial break and we'll come back to our next topic. Okay, I'll take it as no. When we come back, we have some more Hearthstone talk to go on, and this time actually I'll talk about it. See you back in a couple minutes. We're out.
Yay.
And yeah, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, Maxnomic chairs. I'm pretty sure that's what it is. Um, yeah. Yeah, there's some really nice chairs and gaming rigs I've seen over the years that are just amazing. Um, but I'm a big man. I'm over 400 pounds. Um, they cannot. They have weight limits that I would destroy. So I don't even think about it. Um, and honestly, I don't know if I'll ever actually get to fit one of my asses in those chairs, let alone both of them.
You better.
Come on, Becky, I did like that one.
I was gonna say though, there's those really fancy chairs, those when you're the emperor chairs or whatever. I mean, they're made out of like cast iron and stuff like that. I mean, they look like they're very well built.
Yeah, but they're narrow. That's
That's
from
true.
they actually have side panels and stuff like that. Like they look awesome, but yeah,
Well, yeah, you can get them custom made. I mean, $25,000 for one of these fuckers. It
yeah,
better be custom made. You know, and you better be able to give them some dimensions.
yeah, no shit. Tell you what, for $25,000, I'll give you another five, make it industrial strength.
You're not getting a chair.
I don't want one of those.
Well, you'd have to. I mean, you'd have to have a special room made for one of those things.
Well, not even a special room. It's literally something that's gonna sit in the middle of your room. It's not gonna be like my desk is against the wall. And I really
Yeah.
need to have my background. I love my background. I need to fix it and clean it up, but I love my background. All my nerd shit.
And Pizza 73.
Do I have some Pizza 73 in my background tonight?
You do, and a beautiful pink house coat.
And we are back. Oh, the lag. I need to get used to that. Welcome to KTAM Weekly News. So once again, Blizzard has equipped the mighty ban hammer and taken a swing at the Hearthstone community. This time, the bans are permanent with no expiration. Players caught win trading have been and will forevermore be banned from Hearthstone, as win trading is in direct violation of the terms of service. Last week, I covered the temporary banning of people caught using bots. I'm an old school CCG player from Magic the Gathering, Jihad, MechWarrior CCG, and many others all the way back to the 90s, and there was always an expected honor code. So the question I have is, why does this honor code not matter, or at least matter less with an online CCG? And second, should Blizzard take any responsibility for the game allowing these kinds of exploits?
There's always
If it's built within the game mechanics, yeah, I think they do have to take a little bit of responsibility. Sorry, Burgundy.
Oh no, that was fine. I'm just saying, every time you fix something and you find a way to track the people who are doing it, there's going to be somebody smarter, somebody a little bit more ingenious, and somebody who's just a little bit more clever who's going to come up with a way to break it again anyhow, or work it to their own advantage.
Well, with the previous botting, I don't know exactly what the bots did. I clearly didn't use it. And for anybody who's actually curious, one of the main botting companies, which I'm not going to actually tell you what they're called because I don't want to, um, they basically had a final layer scheme that with all the recent bans, they're closing down their service, yada yada. They knew it would happen eventually because they knew that their program was an exploit, and they knew that at some point Blizzard would crack down, which means that they intentionally sold a product knowing full well that at some point all the people using their product would get banned. So, again, that's just people taking advantage of people.
Well, that just goes to show that there's sometimes shitty people on the internet.
Yeah, and that is unfortunate that that has to happen. And with win trading, I don't understand the specifics of win trading. I can assume, but I haven't done any research on it. But I'm guessing it's basically literally what it sounds: win trading. I'll log on to my shitty account and give you some wins, and you log into your shitty account and give me some wins, and yada yada. Or maybe it's something different of taking turns winning in order to pad stats. So if you're doing a, yeah, I don't know the exact stuff around it, but
Well, I guess it would depend on how the ladder works, right? I mean, it could be people with really good decks wanting to maybe dumb themselves down so that when they get into like a tournament or something, they're almost guaranteed a win.
yeah, they're pitting against people who are less experienced. I definitely could see that. And we did encounter some of that when, well, I did. I actually did professional level, well, not necessarily professional level, but professional oriented Magic the Gathering Type 2. I was actually borderline getting myself an actual invite, automatic invite to a Magic the Gathering entry tournament before I stopped actually playing. I never had interest in it. I just played it for fun. But I was competitive. And the people I played with, there was a bit of that, a bit of question every so often of did somebody throw a game, especially during some of the open tournaments that happened that the winner would actually get an invite to the big money tournaments in which it was felt that some people who were friends may have bowed out of a game solely to allow somebody else the automatic win. Or in other cases, during some of the smaller tournaments, one person would concede so that both of them would get prizes, which would actually push out other people. So in a specific case, um, one person is way ahead, another person is pretty far behind. If the person who's behind loses the game, they're out of the prizes. Whereas if they won the game, then the person who was already in first would still retain first because of how high they were in the wins. But the person who would been out would have actually gone to the prizes if they won. And there was a lot of exploiting of that of where the person who's way ahead concedes to the person who's almost out solely because they both get prizes. It's a win-win for both of them. Especially if the overall ranking didn't matter, or it'd be the difference between somebody being first if they win, and the other person being second if they win. You definitely found on occasion that they would just split the prizes. So if one person would win and they won, they get first. Another person say got fourth, or if it was the reverse, the other person wins, he gets second, and the other person got first. They just split the difference. So they literally, okay, we'll take the first and second prize pool and we'll split equally. That happened all the time, and it pissed me off completely. Even pissed the tournament runners, but it was well within the rules of the Magic the Gathering tournaments. And that's something I guess Blizzard has made expressly clear they don't want, is that kind of rigging of the system.
Sounds fair. I mean, nobody wants to have a a system that I guess can be abused to that point.
Well, especially in somebody like my case who spent a lot of time sitting at the third place spot just in the prizes and was literally bumped out because of one of those things happening. Somebody basically doing that and bumping me down to fourth out of the prize pool, or even fifth on occasion if there was a fourth player prize pool. And then people like me or other people would suddenly, oh, you don't get a prize because these people basically fucked you over. And it's a really stupid system. It's abused, even in real world. So I guess that honor code isn't as hard as I was actually making it sound like earlier.
Common sense and honor code, do they really exist?
I guess it boils down to better to get something than nothing. And if you can get more, do it. But in the case of Blizzard's banning, um, is Blizzard right to be doing the bans the way they are, especially in the wind train scenario? Some of the gray hats were the ones who actually initially informed Blizzard of this problem, and intentionally wind traded to show Blizzard that it was a problem, and live streamed it, telling Blizzard the whole time, "Hey, look what's going on. You need to fix this." Many of those gray hats were actually banned during the process solely because they were doing the win trading, even though they made it very clear they're doing it in order to show Blizzard why it was wrong and why they need to fix it. Unfortunately for them, part of the fix was also getting rid of them.
New account. Start again. Grind.
Well, and that's just it, isn't it? You have to now make a new email. It might be connected to other stuff, like your WoW account or your Diablo, like your Battle.net account, so on and so forth. And it's an identity thing for a lot of gamers. A lot of gamers have a name, and that's the name they're known for. It's their online identity. And losing that online identity is huge for some people. Having that stripped is akin to losing who you are. So I can understand why a lot of people would get really upset for that. I've changed my name so many times over the years, it's ridiculous. Which is why I use my real name now, because I'm just lazy. Um, but for some people, that's just not an option to them, and they'd rather leave entirely. So if some of these gray hats are those type of people, was it fair for them to get banned, even though what they were doing was intentional for the sake of trying to save the game?
Yes, but is it black and white? Does WoW say, or Hearthstone say, absolutely, 100% no? Blizzard has put down their foot. Can you not just email them, explain the situation, and could they reverse the decision they made on certain accounts? It's definitely a possibility.
Not likely, due to the fact that the win trading was part of their terms of service, and by doing that, they broke their terms of service, which is a direct violation. Even if they had best intentions, they still broke the rules, and it's unlikely that they'll be reinstated. But we'll take another commercial break, and I have a final topic to talk about, and I'll cover that when we actually get to it. So see you back in a couple minutes. And we're out.
It's only illegal if you get caught.
True
Yeah.
that.
Or if Eric's down the block.
It's only illegal unless you get caught.
There's a light in the children's room. And I'm going to line the hallway with cereals. Mini boxes of cereals.
My new system for posting the topic is great, except for when I'm doing my initial articles. Except for it forces me to take a break for a couple things. I have to scroll down my Word document. I have to delete the top file in my stream so the next one shows. That's why there's that break. As well as I might actually make a highlight of each individual topic and have that on my stream.
You are definitely Italian. Look at the way you talk. Sicilian, you talk with your hands.
I And yes, when I did that, I was holding down my push to talk button.
The lag is so long.
Yeah, it's pretty normal. It's got across hundreds of miles, so.
Oh, I was actually on your stream for once. You're quite a ways away from me. I could like do a whole dance over here and nobody would see me.
Until you fell and then everybody see your ass.
They would know it was my ass. There's too much skin.
I'd grab my webcam, but I don't want to lose my Twitch stream. Going back in about 30 seconds. Welcome back, and on our final topic, I have a question for everybody here. Um, I want to ask, what is everybody mostly playing right now, and why? So I guess the easiest way of doing that is start from the top and work our way down. So Beck, what is your big game right now that you're playing, and why are you playing it?
Well, I wouldn't say I have a big game. I kind of rotate. There's Payday 2 because it's fun. It's quick. I mean, it doesn't take a lot of time. Well, some do, some don't. Then back into WoW because the expansion, and I bought every other collector's edition box that's come out for it. So why not just buy the next one too and play it for a couple of months and kind of get the gist of it. Um, a lot of people are playing Star Trek Online, so I'm playing. I'm a social person. I like to play games with other people. I like that community and interactive aspect of things. So that's why I'm kind of playing those. There's a little bit of Firefall in there every now and then. I still peek my head into Defiance every now and then as well. I'll level up a gun for a bit or something like that. So you see what they have for content and all around. Like I play Simpsons Tap Out on my mobile devices like a bat out of hell. Uh, I'm just an all around gamer. I just like to play games, and the more I can play with other people, the better.
How about yourself, Burgundy?
Well, right now I am playing some Payday 2. I quite enjoy it because I can just log in, play for half an hour, 45 minutes, and go back to doing whatever else I want to do in a day. Every once in a while, I will break open the Firefall and go back to playing that. And right now, I'm not really playing any on my own Facebook type games or mobile games right now. I just, between work and driving and home, there's just not a lot of time for those extra games or those extra add me on games, but I'm really enjoying Payday 2. So if there's anybody out there who likes to play Payday 2, we're usually looking for a third if we don't have enough, or a fourth because we only have three, and it's nice to have a nice rounded out team.
Well, since Master Sick has not chosen to give his 2 cents at all tonight, let's see if he'll take the opportunity now.
Yeah, sorry, I didn't have anything to comment on Hearthstone since I haven't really played it. The previous one was pretty much taken out by Burgundy, but as for the games I'm playing is currently Star Trek Online. Uh, just because I'm a big Star Trek fan and it's free and apparently it was fun. So, because everybody else was playing it that I know. And yeah, it is actually a pretty fun game. And other than that, Payday 2, because they've changed a lot about the game and it's interesting again. And gonna pick up some Minecraft again pretty soon now that the newest update has come out and they've actually got some workable mods so it's playable again. Other than that, not a lot.
Do you say I talk too much?
Hey now, cat fights for fur earlier. For myself, anybody watching my live stream will know exactly what I play and when I play. Um, Firefall is a big game for me. Not so much now. There's not really a whole lot of end game content, and everything requires big, massive groups. And as much as I am part of the 47th Legion, going over there into their mumble on a regular basis is a little bit rough because we're doing so much with the radio and talking so much radio that I can't really get myself to get in there. They're a fantastic group of people, and if you're in Firefall and you're looking for a group, definitely hit up the 47th Legion and check them out. Um, I'm on occasion still playing a bit of Warframe. Again, another game that's really hard to get into if I don't have people. I can do most of the content solo. Well, I can do almost all the content solo if I want to. But when I'm doing the lower level frames, it's a little bit rougher to get into the content that I haven't completed. Um, just because some of them actually requires more people due to just covering the amount of the map, like some of the defense stuff. But see, I might stream a bit more, even though it does lag my stream a bit. Um, Payday 2 is a game that I love. I don't know how much I'm going to stream. I want to get back to streaming more of it just because it is a really fun game, and I really want Infamy 2. But I can't really snipe because again, when anybody who actually does stream will understand that you lose some processor strength while you're streaming, so everything kind of moves a little bit slower, and sniping is what I do best. And it's really hard to actually get your aim proper when you have that little bit of computer lag going on. But Payday's awesome. Star Trek Online, that's pretty well what I've been streaming primarily over the last while. And I put a ton of time in that game. I'm going to be putting a lot more time in that game. Currently, I'm running reputation grinds, so a lot of fleet stuff. I'm completing the Delta Quadrant missions. I'm probably about a third of the way done that. So I expect to be playing a lot more of that. And in the next couple days, I actually was intending on doing it tomorrow, but due to reasons of children, I probably won't be picking it up tomorrow. Instead, I'll probably pick it up again Saturday. Back in a while, start playing my Paladin, do some raids pre expansion, and then probably grind through the expansion content with Beck and whoever else decides to come back to that. Gonna take another quick commercial break, and then I'll close this out and say goodnight to everybody. So see you in a few minutes. And we're out.
Interesting.
It was interesting.
There's a science vessel, a Romulan science vessel that turns into a tactical vessel.
Yeah, there's a Federation one that does. It doesn't really turn into. It just kind of takes on some attributes of.
Well, the bridge officer seats change. It goes from general system power or general auxiliary power to web power. It activates uh, heavy proton cannons only activated. It gets better turn rate. It turns from a science vessel into a tactical vessel.
Yeah, there's.
For all intents and purposes.
Yeah, there's
The
one. I think it's.
don't change, but
Yeah, there's one that I was using as part of mission. I think Voyager. You activate an ability, and it you lose one of your science vessel abilities. So you lose a tier 2 science vessel officer slot in favor for the ability to use, I think, an extra level of tactical, which in that case gave me access to, I think it was a few abilities. I got some extra tactical abilities, lost some science abilities. It is kind of neat.
yeah, I'm actually considering that it's just because it's interesting.
Is not going to be a true tactical ship, just so you know. It's give really shitty turn radius even when you do tactical.
No, it's actually got a decent turn radius. It's got a turn rate of 12 compared
That's not bad.
to I can't remember what the other one, my super tactical, that was just a tactical one,
I'm back in
was
30 seconds. Yeah, I don't know. You have to look into it more.
12 compared to 19.
That's a lot of turn radius.
Yeah, but I could always activate an ability to increase it, and I don't know what it goes up by.
Okay, going
Plus
back 10
1,
seconds.
so 13 technically.
Welcome back. I'd like to thank everyone for joining me. Beck Altar, Burgundy Master Sick. If you'd like to submit an article, you can email it to news@ktamradio.com. If you're a game developer and would like to discuss your game on KTAM, please email us at pr@ktamradio.com. Come check us out on Twitch at twitch.tv/ktamradio to check out our official KTAM content or watch Beck Altar. And you can check me out at twitch.tv/Yelan, YEHLAN. Tonight I will be doing a giveaway for your choice of what games I have available. Please tune into KTAM for our live shows. Currently all our shows start at 6 p.m. Pacific Time, 9 p.m. Eastern. Tune in Mondays where we talk about geek entertainment. Wednesdays for the Frontier Truth. Thursdays, of course, is the KTAM Weekly News. And Fridays are the Sam's Cat Show. Thank you again to everyone who joined me and anyone out there listening, and I hope you'll return again next week. Gonzo.
Yay.
Time to go work out.
I'm going to end this stream at the moment solely because I want to save the VOD before music starts. So I'll be back a little bit to stream some stretch.